Hello and welcome to the Long COVID Hope podcast, the podcast that tells the more hopeful stories of those with long COVID. Hi, I'm your host, Sarah Evans. I'm here with a little mini episode as I wanted to both talk about how I'm doing and updates and news about the offerings I have for people with long COVID and other complex conditions. And additionally, I wanted to have a chat about a possible future season and what that may look like and what does you as the audience actually want from this podcast. So I know that the podcast does resonate and I know it's lovely to listen to hopeful stories, and I'm sure the hopeful stories will continue. But at the same time, the last bonus episode I did, which was a interview with an author about a related book, got a lot of positive feedback with people saying, can we have more interviews like this? And the answer is yes. But I'm kind of aware that, my primary goal of this podcast was to tell the stories from the perspective of people that are long haulers that have experienced long COVID. So if I start to have guests on who are doctors or scientists or researchers who haven't themselves had that personal experience of long COVID, is that outside of the remit, or is that just the natural evolution of things? I don't know. I am very open to doing a new season, and I can start recording it soon. But at the same time, I don't have a big long list of people that have written to me to speak to this time. So at the same time, this is also like a bit of a casting call that if you or someone you know or a friend of long COVID has a more hopeful story that they'd like to share with listeners of the Long COVID Hope podcast, please do reach out to me. You can reach out to me on my website, which is sarahevans.co. There's a contact me form you can complete. By the way, anyone that signs up for that and signs up for my newsletter receives instantly my guided meditation for flares, for flare days and reinfections. So it's nice to do to get off on my newsletter because I do like to send lots of gifts and freebies to people. I'm the giving kind, right? But if you write to me via that, or just let me know via Instagram. I have an Instagram account, obviously, again, sarahevans.co is my Instagram handle. Feel free to reach out to me. And it doesn't have to be stories of complete recovery to 100%. As much as we love to hear those stories, and obviously it's really great. And, in the last season, I spoke to people that had experienced long COVID for 4 or 5 years and then got better, right? So, I'm a strong believer that recovery is possible, whatever length of time you've been sick and things like that. But at the same time, I also love to speak to people who are still, on their recovery journey. And I've just found ways that enhance their life, that makes things better, that gets you to a point where they're able to, do many things and they want to share what helps them. Um, and additionally, I do like to cover stories, like diversity of stories, right, from different places, different people, different backgrounds, diversity of ethnicity, religion, of gender orientation, of, sexuality, like whatever. I just really like to tell as many different stories and hear from as many different people as possible so that there is an episode for everyone where you're just like, oh, this sounds like me, or this is a lot like what I personally have been challenged with. So yeah, keep it coming. And yeah, if I get enough into my inbox, then yes, absolutely, I can go ahead and begin that recording process. Yes. All right. So I also receive a lot of inquiries asking me, how am I doing now? Are things still good? And thank you for that. I really appreciate the interest in hearing from me. And yes, I must admit, I have made a conscious decision to be less active on social media because it's these days it just feels very full of noise. And I was posting on Instagram and places like that, and just nobody was really seeing it anymore. And so I just thought, this is not really helping anybody if nobody sees it. So I've kind of stopped doing that to the most part. But obviously that makes it a little less visible about what am I up to, what's happening. Um, but yes, I am doing really well, thank you. I did, full disclosure, I did have a particularly nasty episode of food poisoning over Easter. I actually got it on Easter Sunday, so that was delightful. But I'm still fully recovered from long COVID. I don't experience fatigue or any of the symptoms that I used to have. Listeners might remember that I had POTS and I had peripheral neuropathy where I felt tingles and pins and needles in my hands and feet and legs. All of that has completely gone, thankfully, and I'm really, really glad. It's been many years now. And yeah, my personal experience of long COVID, it gets a little bit, the memories start to fade a bit with the passage of time. But I definitely still remember how sick I was and how grateful I am to be at this place. So now I live a very full life. Obviously I do my yoga very frequently. I am out exercising, swimming, playing with my daughter at the park, going for long walks in the Peak District. I also run this business full time now. And we'll talk a little bit more about it in a minute, but essentially, I am able to work as much as I choose and have no payback. And so it's lovely to be able to assist in essentially what I consider my calling, which is to help as many people who are struggling with long COVID and other complex issues and major challenges that life sends your way. So yeah, I love to do this work and I'm so passionate about it. So with that in mind, I'll tell you a little bit more about what I have been up to, and obviously you can go visit the website as well, where you'll find out more about my offerings. But my major focus is to really help people very comprehensively with my coaching program. I have a wellness coaching program for people like you who are in the thick of it, really struggling and need that additional care and assistance. Essentially, it's a 3 month minimum commitment where you get to speak to me every week. Obviously, we do different things around that. I have some people who, prefer to do a call without video because that helps them fatigue-wise. Other people I can record meditations and sessions that they can listen to in their own time, and things like that. Obviously, I'm very flexible and very aware of possible limitations in energy levels and ways of speaking with people, right? Um, But yes, so the wellness program, I've been running it. I have been doing this informally for years, where I've had private clients who I speak to weekly and really assist with their recovery process. So I have, there's many people, people listening to this probably, that they're like, oh yes, it sounds like what we've been doing, and yes, it is. But since December of 2025, I made it a formal offering on the website, and I have structured slots, one per day, for each client to really ensure that I'm giving as much focus and much needed attention to each client as possible, but also being mindful of the fact that having been through an energy limiting experience myself, I do not want to push too hard, take on too much, and possibly experience a burnout. Nope, that is not happening here. So slots are quite limited, but I do have a current opening. So if anyone is at all interested, you can have a look on my website. I'll put the links in the show notes. But that's for my first kind of as premium offering, but my most comprehensive package, which also gives access to all of my yoga for long COVID recordings, or called restorative healing yoga, all of my Reiki, distance Reiki recordings. You get all of my guided meditations. You get access to everything I have ever done to assist people with chronic health conditions. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that briefly because that's a massive focus for me to just try and really move the needle and see some really strong positive outcomes in helping people to recover, right? That's what we all want at the end of the day, to feel as good as you can and lead as active and as enjoyable a life as you can. Okay. And then another piece, of which there is a piece of news coming up, is my Reiki healings. Actually, I did just post on my blog as well, a kind of background story to how I found Reiki, and maybe I can briefly kind of summarize here now. Because I did not so long ago, back in the day, I didn't like Reiki and energy healing, that sort of thing, didn't really resonate for me, and I never really tried it for a long, long time because I just thought, I was skeptical, and I threw it in the same place that I put like homeopathic remedies or something like this, like it sounded a bit mad, like flat earth theory or something like that, right? And it wasn't until, so in season one of the Long COVID Hope podcast, I spoke with Laurie Rivers, and she's a yoga teacher and she's also a Reiki practitioner. And it was so during her interview, she was talking about Reiki and energy healing, and I was just kind of listening and allowing her to speak her truth and tell her story about her own healing and how she helps others too. But it was when I caught my reinfection, my very famous reinfection, because everything around to a halt, and everybody noticed because all of my yoga classes and everything had to stop immediately. But I got a reinfection in spring of 2023, which led to, so after I'd fully recovered, so there's a strong reinfection that did cause a fatigue flare for me. And I was back in bed, and I was lying in bed and thinking, oh, woe is me, all the things that we think when you get something comes up like this and you get knocked down again. But as I was lying there, I remembered that a conversation I had with Laurie, and I had actually in my email, I'd signed up for her newsletter, and in my inbox there were some recordings from her giving Reiki healings and things like this. And I thought, oh, I'm just going to try it. And so I tried and I just put it on like a guided meditation and I listened to it. And lo and behold, it made me feel I could feel things happening and it made me feel a bit better. And I was just like, oh my goodness, okay. And so then I took I went down the rabbit hole on YouTube, trying lots of different Reiki and energy healing recordings. And I actually credit um, doing a lot of listening to Reiki recordings as how I got out of this fatigue flare as quickly as I did. Because I was, it just set me back for, I want to say, 2 or 3 months, but I climbed out of a really deep pit incredibly rapidly. And through that process, I got so curious about Reiki and energy healing because I was just like, what? Like the skeptic in me is just like, how is this even possible? What's even happening? Like, I want like I came out of this and when I felt fully back to my full energy levels, I'm just like, that's it. I am going to find out what is going on. I'm going to sign up for a course because I was just desperate to find out how is this happening? What is happening? How does it work? How does it work on a blooming recording on YouTube? That seems insane. And yet I had this lived experience of feeling so much happening in my body and feeling myself rapidly improve in just a 1 hour of listening to a recording on YouTube. And I'm just like, yeah, I was just desperate to know. And so that's when I signed up. So I signed up with somebody off YouTube it's just somebody who I'd done a lot of her Reiki recordings, and it just spoke to me that I felt like I wanted to learn from her. So I signed up with her, and the rest is history. Because so I got attuned to Reiki, um, and then I just really loved it. I just really loved the ability to heal myself. If you've got a headache, poof, gone. If you're in the waking up in the middle of the night, with insomnia, like do some Reiki on yourself and it'll be fast asleep again. And and then I did in time Reiki level 2 in order to do distance healing for others. And quite soon after taking the Reiki 2 training, I thought, well, I'm going to start offering this to my yoga clients and I'm going to start just offering just as a donations-based thing to begin with, the exact same as the yoga for long COVID started off as a donations only thing, just pay what you wish sort of system. But I just put them on to Learn It Live, where my restorative yoga content sits. And I started doing the remote Reiki healings monthly, and I've just found myself becoming more and more passionate and more committed to this. And I'm really passionate, obviously, taking my background with long COVID, my background of helping long haulers. I'm very passionate about the possible positive impact of energy healing on long COVID and chronic conditions in particular, right? That's a big part of what I do. So yes, so with that in mind, obviously I've got online my monthly Reiki healings, my monthly class that I do. I have a whole bunch of recordings available on Insight Time. I'll put one in the show notes actually. On Set Timer, on Learn It Live, different offerings. And I also I set up this Reiki subscription model, which I basically thought this is the best way to send very regular healings to somebody who's really got a lot of health issues. Essentially, it was focused on chronic health conditions. Like, how can we try and ease that as intensely and rapidly as possible? And that's how I developed the Reiki subscription model, where basically you sign up for a subscription and I send you Reiki every 2 to 3 days. And you don't have to do anything yourself, apart from just notice and see, you know, what's coming up, what's feeling released, and the ways in which you improve. But I've had long haulers do that for 1 month or for multiple months, and I've had some really positive impacts. So that's there as well. Anyway, the big news I wanted to mention is that if you feel intrigued by this, if you feel intrigued by the opportunity to potentially heal your own self, because everybody can, right? A big part of this podcast is a big part of all of the recovery stories is about a common theme is people returning to realize that actually they can heal their own selves. They can work it out, exactly what's needed and give yourself what's needed, right? And so, doing a Reiki training is basically giving yourself those tools to heal your own self because you can. And whether you're skeptical, and you're allowed to be skeptical, in fact, I invite skeptics to come along and try it and see for yourself. In fact, if you're skeptical, try my overnight 8 hour Reiki healing, and I bet I would place £1,000 bet that even the most intense skeptic has an experience doing that. They're a very powerful track. Anyway, so in 2 weeks today, on the 15th of May, I am offering Reiki 1 training and attunement. I've also developed a program to basically be quite concise. I realized when I did my own Reiki training, that my Reiki master, I think it was like a 5 hour session. And out of that 5 hours, I think a good 2 hours of it was just chatting. And I kind of reflected on this and I thought, I'm going to offer something that's more concise, more complicated, more not complicated, more it's comprehensive, but it's concise, and it offers people the opportunity to do it from your own house, from your own home, and just yeah, less chatty, less kind of time wasting, and just straight to the point. In Reiki level 1 is focused on the physical body, on healing yourself and on the physical healing process. Obviously, that is the least woo of it. So it's focusing on healing yourself, and after Reiki 1 training and attunement, you then begin 21 days of sending Reiki healing to yourself. And like I promise it will pay some intense dividends. I promise it will make you feel a ton better. But after Reiki 1, you are able to offer to give healing to somebody else in person. So you can give a healing to a friend, to your dog, to your plant, things like that. And I encourage, to experiment and play and have some fun with it and just see what blossoms. So anyway, Reiki 1 training begins on Friday, the 15th of May. It's at 2 to 5 p.m. UK time, which is 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern time. I was trying to find a slot that would work for as many people as possible. But I would love for you to join me and see for yourself the power of energy healing. And you know what I will say to those skeptics out there who are just like, this is insane. I will offer a full refund if you come to the session, you do the attunements, you do the 21 days of healing, and you experience nothing. I will give you your money back. Okay, I'm telling you here and now. It's hard for a small business owner to say such things, but I am that confident that you're going to have an experience. It's going to be powerful. Okay. All right. I feel like I've been waffling on and on for long enough. I would love to hear from you, so please do reach out, even if you don't feel like being a guest on the podcast and you just want to reach out and let me know what your favorite episode was, or your thoughts of what you'd like the podcast to feature in future, with any particular topic, any particular symptom, and particular treatment idea that hasn't been covered yet. Feel free to just drop me a line because I love to hear from my wonderful listeners. I love to do this work. It's very healing, and it's very. I know that telling hopeful stories is powerful, and I know that it was an important process for me and my own recovery to hear from people that recovered from ME/CFS and people that have recovered from complex issues to know that it's possible. All right, that's enough from me. Good care of yourselves. And until next time, keep the hope alive. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Long COVID Hope podcast. We sincerely hope that you've enjoyed this episode. Please note that we are not medical professionals and this does not constitute medical advice. Always speak to your doctor or medical professional before starting any new treatments, supplements, or new exercise routine. If you would like to support the podcast, please do me a favor and give a 5-star rating and review, and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast client and on social media. It would help so much if you were also able to share the podcast episode you've enjoyed with a friend. Next, if you have the ability to do so, please do sign up as a Patreon member. And all Patreon members receive access to all of the video episodes, as well as receiving all episodes 1 week earlier and other member benefits.